Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading A Does I Exist by me. So let's get into it. You really couldn't be at fault here. That's what you told yourself over and over when you thought about your argument. You and Dazai hardly ever argue, but when you do, sometimes it gets petty and serious. And that's exactly what happened when the two of you argued this time. Dazai was stubborn, and he insisted that he was in the right. And he loved you because of your stubbornness and the way you were so determined. And maybe it was a bad trait at times because you also insisted that you could not be wrong on this topic that you argued over. And it kept going until the two of you just kept being petty over everything. And there it was, the third day in a row. And the two of you are not even eating the same table anymore. Was it really that worth it? Most likely not. And honestly, Dazai would think the same had you asked him out loud. But he's got his own pride, and so did you. And that's why it went on longer and longer until you just couldn't take it. But were you going to apologize? Absolutely not. Maybe you've been wrong on some things, but he was as well. And Dazai, you didn't think he would apologize after he was petty for so long, and after all that insistence. So maybe the better way to go about things, though it was quite unhealthy, and maybe not the best way since you were supposed to communicate somehow, but right now the better way meant just what you could manage. And what you could manage to do was to just avoid it and distract both him and yourself. So you forgot about the argument and made up in the end. How would you do that? You had no idea. That's why you were talking with his friend, Yosano. Well, she had a lot to say about Dazai. She thought he was quite, well, he is not the most sensible person in the world, obviously, but she thought he was weird. And she didn't know how to give you tips, especially relationship advice, since she has never been in one herself. But she tried, and she told you that no matter what happened between the two of you, Dazai would never be able to resist you. Because when he loved too much. And even if he may just put up that front and maybe pity for the sake of it, he loves you. And there will be a point where he just will not be able to resist you any longer. So you just have to find it. And find it you did. You started it off slow, wearing shorter skirts, a tight dress, Dazai's favorite outfits on you. But even though you saw his lingering stares, he kept it inside of him, deciding not to say a thing, even though you could tell that he was keeping all those thoughts in his head with difficulty, unable to suppress them. But what could he do? But just want to admire you from afar. He didn't want to lose. He didn't want to be the one to give in first. But little did he know that you had a trump card up your sleeve. So, after just feeling like you were helpless and had no other choice, you went to your bedroom, sat there for a while, and decided that maybe it was a little bit humiliating but worth it, and you would get to see his reaction as well. So you moaned, faking it, of course, wanting out his name, and what do you know? He was there in an instant. He was blushing, but his eyes were wild. When he walked into the room, he was staring at you, like he was completely caught by surprise by this, but still was processing. He had no reaction for all of that, truly, but it wasn't like he could just go now. He blushed. Then he let out a sigh as you watched him. Fine then. If you're not going to apologize, then I'm not either. Well, I want you to apologize. So, of course, being this creative person that he is, he came up with the idea that the two of you should apologize at the same time. He held your hand and you held his, and you squeezed it, the two of you counting to three, and then supposedly you would apologize. But before you could say anything, well, you were kind of hesitant anyway, and he knew it because he knew you very well. His lips touched yours in a soft kiss, an aching one that was desperate, and told you just how much he was holding back. I missed you. Don't you ever do this to me again. Damn it. I'm sorry, Mayan. I know I may be stubborn sometimes, but it wasn't like I was the only one in the wrong, he says with a pout, and you can't help but giggle, then pull him into another kiss, this time being the one to initiate it. And he melts. He missed you, truly, and you could feel it and see it in his eyes. And the way he held you so closely as if he was desperate and unable to let go. You melt into his touch, into his warmth. The way he holds your body close to his own, and you let out a soft sigh, burying your face into his shoulder as he smiles, guarding a hand through your hair. I'm sorry for being petty. I'm sorry too, he said at last, a soft smile on your face. Maybe you would need to discuss this later. Maybe you need to talk about it more clearly so you wouldn't have any similar arguments in the future. But right now, you are more than relieved that it had all worked out in the end. And as for Dazai, well, his hands were wandering. Perhaps he was a little bit too excited, but you could not truly blame him. After all that teasing, and the way you were just trying to rile him up all week, he could not truly be blamed. And if you were to be honest, you were aching to be with him too, wanting him just as much as he wanted you. And in the morning, when you see 27 missed calls from Atsushi on his phone, it's quite alright. You're sure nothing that bad could have happened, right? Oh well, at least you had some fun.